Hello, sixth graders. Today we're working with positive and negative numbers. I want you to watch really closely because you're going to be doing a lot in sixth grade math with positive, negative numbers. So this is kind of our first day of really working with it. We've done some practice problems with this before today's math lesson, but really focus in close while I teach you these skills. Here's the first problem. B plus 9 equals 3. B has to be what number? Well, let's take a look here. So we have to find out what B is. So blank plus 9 equals a 3. So I'm going to have to put a negative number in there to take some away from that 9. What would I have to take away from 9 to get to 3? I'm going to have to take 6 away. If I take away negatives, so if I have 6 negatives, and if I have 9 positives, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I have 6 negatives and 9 positives, these 6 negatives will cross off, 6 positive cross off, so I'm left with 3 positives, which would be my answer. So my answer is negative 6. Let's continue to move on to the next problem. Negative 5 plus a equals negative 1. So I have a negative 5 here, plus a number equals a negative 1. So what would I have to do? What would I have to take away from the negative 5, or what would I have to add to the negative 5 to get to negative 1? Well, let's think about it. If I add a positive 4 in here, that means I would have to take 4 away from here, so I'm left with negative 1. So a positive 4. I'm going to draw this out just so you see it as well. If I have 5 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I have 4 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, these cancel each other, which means I'm left with 1 negative left over. Let's keep going here. M plus negative 5 equals negative 4. Let's see how I would solve this problem. Blank plus a negative 5 equals a negative 4. So once again, if I have 5 negatives, what would I have to add to this to get to just negative 4? Well, I'd have to have 1 positive. These would cross each other off, so I'm left with 4 negatives. So my answer is a 1. A plus 1. A plus 1, so I'm taking a positive away from the negative 5, so I'm left with negative 4. Let's keep going here. K plus 3 equals a negative 3. So how would I get to the negative 3? Blank plus 3 equals negative 3. Well, if I just put a negative 3 right here, negative 3 plus a positive 3, they would cancel each other out, which means this number would have to be a 0. So that's not correct. I have to go more. What if I put a negative 6 here? Ooh. What if I put a negative 6 here? I have 6 negatives. I have 3 positives. These 3 negatives cross off the 3 positives. I'm left with negative 3, so negative 6 is my answer. You won't be able to draw all the time, but this will just help you. So let's just take this one for example. I have positives and I have negatives here. I have 13 positives. I have 5 negatives. My bigger number is in the positives, so my answer is in the positives. I have to take away negative 5 from both sides, so it means I'm left with the number 8. Here's another one. I have a negative 10 and a negative 12. 12 is my bigger number. I have a negative 10 over here. I'm taking away 10 from both sides, so I'm left with 2, a positive 2. Negative 7 plus a negative 8. Since they're both negative numbers, I'm just going to get a really big negative number. 7 plus 8 is 15, which would be negative 15 for my answer. Negative 15 and negative 10. 15 is my bigger number compared to a 10, so my answer is a negative. So I have a negative 15 plus a 10. I'm taking away a positive 10 away from here, so I'm left with 5, and that's a negative 5 is my answer. Negative 4 plus negative 9, I have a negative number here, plus another negative number here. So my answer is a big negative number. 9 plus 4 is negative 13. 7 plus a negative 19. This is how I always tell kids when I'm teaching them. Your bigger number is the negative number, so your answer is negative. I'm going to get rid of a positive 7 from both sides. So take 7 away from that 19, so my answer is a negative 12. Complete the what's my rule table. Give the rule for the table. So I got to figure out, how does 8 get to 2? How does 4 get to negative 2? How does 2 get to negative 4? So let's just take a look at these things. We have, the nice thing is there's 4 formulas. Let's take a look at this first formula. X plus 6. So 8, so this first one, I have 8 for my x. 8 plus 6 equals 14. Is that what? No. So we know this one is automatically wrong. Let's try the next one. X times negative 6 equals y. So if I do 8 times a negative 6, I get a negative 48. Is that y? That's not y. So we're going to obviously cross that one off. Let's take a look at the next one. X is 8, so 8 plus negative 6 equals 2. Does that work? That does work. Let's try another one. Let's put a 4 in there. 4 plus a negative 6 would equal a negative 2. That works. Let's try the last one. 2 plus a negative 6 will equal a negative 4. That works as well. So what is my rule? My rule is this. I'm going to add a negative 6 to x. I'm going to circle this formula because that's my right formula. Now, how am I going to solve these last two here? If I know the y, how am I going to find the x? I'm going to get some more space on here so we can work these out. And let's really write these out so we can problem solve. So if we know the y, so we're on this formula, right? The y is negative 6. We know negative 6. We don't know the x. So what number plus a negative 6 gets me to a negative 6? Let's see here. 0. 0 plus negative 6 gets to a negative 6. Let's try another one here. Wouldn't you agree? That'd be 0. Let's say this equals negative 8. What number plus negative 6 gets to a negative 8? Well, negative 2 plus a negative 6 gets to a negative 8. Last one. Do you see how we're just plugging in these formulas? It equals negative 15. What negative number do we have to add to negative 6 to get to negative 15? Well, 9 plus 6 equals 15. A positive 9 would give me 3 for an answer. A negative 9 will give me negative 15. Next problem. We're doing some practice problems here, okay? Evaluate when k is 5. So this means 5 to the second power. That means 5 times 5 is 25. 2 to the fifth power. Ooh, what does that equal? Well, we know 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, I know 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we have a times 2 left over. 4 times 4 is 16 times 2. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 is my answer. 10 times k, which means 10 times 5, which is 50. How about this one? Negative 24 plus a 5. Well, the bigger number is a negative, so my answer is negative. I have to take 5 positives away from the negative 24, which is a negative 19. And this next one's a little trickier. I like it. I even had to go down to Mr. Song and Mrs. Gruber to ask some questions about this. I know the first one. So if I'm plugging in 10 to the negative 1, we've been doing a lot of practice problems with that. That equals 0.1 or 1/10. 1/10 is your answer. Okay. But I had to take a look with B and C with our high school teachers because I haven't seen these before in 5th grade math, but it's pretty easy. Watch closely. 2 to the negative 1 power. This negative 1 just means a reciprocal, just like we did here, which means our answer is half. We just have to flip this negative number to the denominator. So our answer is 2 to the 1 power. So that's how we make this negative a positive. And 2 to the 1 is the same thing as 2. So our answer is half. Watch closely on this next one. We have half to the negative 1. How do we flip it to get that -1 to be positive? We're just going to find the reciprocal, and I'm going to move this 2 up, so this would be 2 over 1 would be my answer, which my answer would be 2, because 2 over 1 equals 2. The last one is I have a -1 plus a -8, and that's simple. Negative plus a negative is a -9. Hopefully this helped a little bit with positive and negatives. As always, see which number is bigger, the negative number or the positive number. If you have two negatives, when you add it up, you have a bigger negative number. If you have a bigger negative plus a positive number, your answer is going to be negative, but you have to take some of that positive away from the negative. Hopefully this helped a little bit with your math. Obviously, I'll help you even more in math today, but I'm going to ask you to refer to this video too during math time in case you're struggling. Thank you and good luck.